You need your food this morning, don't you? Hi there. Hi, Spartacus. What's up? All right, so don't make a mistake and think that this is a trained chicken or something. She is not, that much I can assure you. 1 out of 10 times that I come up to her, she'll actually crouch down and be willing to be picked up. But this is probably our oldest chicken here. Her name's Spartacus. She's been with us since the old house. She's got to be about going on 4 years old, maybe. How you doing? She's kind of rules the roost. Most crotchety old girl we got on the farm here. Go on. Well, good morning, everyone. Hey, big news. We just crossed over 400 subscribers. So if you're the 400th or 401st subscriber to the channel, thanks a lot. Appreciate you being around. Obviously, our first goal is try to get to 1,000. That's kind of the big milestone, if you will, for up and coming YouTube channels. Thanks everybody for coming along on the journey. Boy, it's been a week or two, I guess, since the last update, and so a lot has gone on. Just wanted to bring everybody up to speed. And you'll see over my shoulder there, we finally have the black sheep and the guard dog out there in the pasture, set up in their own paddock. So I'll come back to that here in a minute, but I've got to get back to work and I'll be gone for several days as usual. And so today and a little bit of tomorrow is about my last amount of time to get things caught up around here. So in that time, I will finish the cleanup of all this stuff, the tools and the construction site and all that stuff. But so don't mind that. That's not how we generally roll around here, but we've had a lot going on. And so yeah, this will just kind of be a fun video bringing you up to speed on what's gone on over the last few weeks, as well as what is in the works for the next few weeks. As a new farming YouTube channel, the one thing that I'm kind of hoping to impart on viewers is that you really only need one thing to get your farm up and running. And Lord knows there are thousands of other way better channels on the internet and on YouTube than mine. But the only one thing that you need to get your farm up and going is a desire to do so. That's really it. Okay, maybe two things. A little bit of ambition and willingness to do a little bit of hard work. Okay? A little bit of hard work never hurt anybody. That's it. If you can dream it, it can happen. As shown here on our channel, we don't know what the heck we're doing. We've got a little bit of tools, some equipment, a little bit of know-how that we brought from just being married 25 years and running a household and raising kids and working on cars and working on trucks and fixing plumbing and electrical and all that stuff. So it all kind of goes hand in hand, and that's probably what it takes to keep a farm up and running. But the main point is that you really don't need to know what the heck you're doing. You just need to have a willingness to try and learn. And so let me show you a few things that I learned on. Let's start over here with the sheep paddock and the sheep shed. And I'm going to show you some things, what not to do, or what I did that I wouldn't do again, and what we will improve upon in the future. Yes, you can see our barn is still collapsed, and we have made efforts to get it dismantled, and we're hauling this stuff around. I'm going to probably light a big old bonfire today and throw even more of this wood in here. My son's poor car has been destroyed, but we are, like I said, in the process of dismantling this thing, but I'm sure by the end of summer it will be down, and hopefully we'll maybe even have a new awning up. So a lot of mess going on around here. Snowblower came off earlier this week when I got back here with the post hole digger, and I need to give a review on this snowblower. But I will tell you, if you've been watching the channel and saw how horrendous our winter was, this thing was absolutely instrumental and critical on our farm here. 64-inch wide snowblower on the back of the 2038R John Deere tractor, and we would have been hosed without it. Okay, the leaf sweeper got dented and bent in the collapsed barn fiasco, so I think I'm just about to have that functional again. Yard mower, flat tire, a whole bunch of cattle panel. This stuff right here turns out was instrumental, and you need to have a lot of that around. We needed to have a lot of that around. Anyway, we got a lot more fencing to put up here. That's going to be going up all around the pasture, the perimeter of the pasture. What we did have was our sheep in the barn here. Unfortunately, I had them in here for about 2 weeks, maybe 2.5 weeks, and they got quite rambunctious. So, as you would imagine, I had the 3 boys in here and the 1 girl over there, and after a while, they just got sick and tired of it. So, that's one thing I would recommend. You know, if you're thinking about getting livestock or thinking about getting sheep, everyone will tell you, you know, obviously you need to have your property prepared for that. And in our case, we didn't necessarily have the pastures prepared for it, but we did have the ability to at least house them here in our barn. So that was, you know, somewhat of preparation for it, but not the right way to do it, really. It worked, but I would highly recommend not to do it that way. So let me take a minute to talk about that, though. It's like, I'll agree that preparing for everything is the best way to go, but life doesn't always work that way, and so you kind of prepare what you can. You get, probably in this case, get the livestock or get the chickens you want, and then you kind of make your improvements as time goes on. And so long as your sheep don't get away, run away, and they get totally lost or killed, then you're probably gonna be okay. So it's always kind of a conundrum as to what comes first, right? But I'm of the mind that if you wait until everything is prepared, you'll never have the motivation to get past that barrier. You'll never feel like you're fully prepared. So by kind of putting the cart before the horse, if you will, in an instance like this, within reason, it kind of turns up the heat and motivates you to actually get the next step going and get things moving where you may have procrastinated for quite a bit longer. So here we are now. We got a lot more work ahead of us. So let me continue showing you around what's going on here. So this is Mary, our 3/4 Great Pyrenees, 1/4 Akbosh guard dog, livestock dog. We brought her home just about 2 weeks ago, I guess, and she spent the whole time in the barn with these guys. And she came off of a little farm with a family with a full breed Great Pyrenees that had kind of showed her the way. And so as soon as she got here to the livestock, she's only about 4 months old, she just took to the livestock and assumed the guard role responsibilities and can't stand the idea of being separated from him. So she's been just excellent. Guy right there, he is Data. And this guy right here is Adams. Can't even remember his name. And then our others are Emer is the boy and Eleni is the girl. Now they should be separated, but for the time being they are not because we have not partitioned them off yet. As I was saying, let's just start right here with the sheep shed, okay? I got this idea from the internet of building a shed that can be moved around the property. Seems like a brilliant idea, right? One upside is supposedly you don't have to pay property taxes since it's not a permanent structure, and you just get to move it all around the property. So I built it on these huge beams, these huge 18-foot long 6x6 inch wood beams. Ordered those from the lumber mill, went out, picked them up. I constructed the whole thing over there on the concrete pad, and I am not a carpenter. I don't think I've ever even framed a wall in or anything like that. So how hard could it be, right? Well, it's not that hard, but in order to simplify the process, I used my nail gun, which only has 3 1/4 inch nails, framing nails. They're not the strongest nails, for one thing, but with there being probably 200 or 300 nails in here, it sure made the process go a lot easier. So that was an upside, but you can see here how there's no 45-degree structural reinforcements. As soon as I started moving it from that location all the way around here on this uneven ground, well, it kind of tweaked and torqued and was not very happy. So what needs to happen here still is I need to run through here with some screws and probably some lag screws with in these bigger corners and whatnot. Now I did run a lot of large nails and huge nails to keep it all secure, but it was really quite rickety. And Amy my wife had the brilliant idea of putting up this cattle panel in here instead of just having the corrugated metal, and that's helped things be quite comfortable and much cooler in here, and it will be much cooler for the summer for them than being fully enclosed like that wall like plan A was. So once I hammered all those things in, that added a lot of structural rigidity to this thing. So before I move this thing up the hill, which won't happen until we fence in the entire perimeter, probably gonna add some braces, run in the lag screws, and before winter sets in, I've got to run some purlin type of whatever supports across here, because right now it's just up there to hold up the keep rain off, and it's just not very strong, obviously. So anyway, if you're gonna build this thing, I think it's a good size. It's about 8 or 9 feet wide and 18 feet long, and I made it with the partition in there so that the girls can be separated. We'll run a partition out here with another electric fence to separate them, and then the boys can be on one side and the girls can be on one side. Because here in a week or so, we're gonna have 5 girls and the 2 boys. Okay, so that's what's up with the sheep shed. Now, let's talk about this electric fence, okay? I bought this from Intermountain Farmers Association, is a farm co-op here in Utah, IFA. And that's the main reason I went with this brand, is because that's what they had on hand. And the Power Wizard. And for warranty repairs, it's just, I don't know, it's just convenient to be able to take your parts and pieces down to the local store that you bought it from, and it kind of feels better to support local stores as well. So this netting for our sheep that I bought is actually the poultry netting. It's made for chickens, and it was only 82 feet long, I think, so I had to buy 3 sections of it, and at $169 a piece, that was pretty spendy. I think the power supply here was around 170, something like that, and then the grounding rods was another $20 or more. So we're pretty heavily invested into just this small paddock, which is a tiny space really, but it's adequate for these guys, and it's a huge step up from being stuck in the barn. So they've been quite happy. All right, so now let's talk about the next move. All that fencing that you saw over there, the goat and sheep fencing, which we temporarily installed these posts. These can come out with ease once we've got the rest of the perimeter fence up. I bought enough of that over there to line the entire boundary of the perimeter. So That's the thing that we probably should have done before we even bought the sheep. But again, as I was saying a minute ago, you wait until you have all your ducks in a row, you just may never even get off to the races. So we did pull out all this fencing that was through here. Really bad old T-bar and T-posts and really bad barbed wire. But we've got to clean up saw down some of these trees, parts of them, level off the space that the new fence will be going up in place of these old posts. And we've got a lot of work cut out for us to get to that point. So what I was hoping I could get done in a few days is not going to happen. But we've made progress. We've started the process. Sorry, I had a phone call. Anyway, so this is the joys of buying a property that's been, you could say, neglected for decades upon decades. So ideally, I'll be bringing the fence all the way back to this post. But you can see I've got, hey, quiet. I've got my work cut out for me to get these giant posts taken out. So what I'm kind of considering doing is bringing the new fence up temporarily up to about these green posts right here, and then segregating off this whole back corner and leaving that as kind of the dump area until a later time, because the fence goes through this stinking berry briar bush. And we've got one water control head right there, one of our two. The second one was over there. So what I'm thinking about doing is I've got this post laid down right here, basically bringing the fence from here kind of at a diagonal right there, just to close off the perimeter here so the sheep can begin to graze in the entire upper pasture. So this whole fence right here has got to come out and all the way over to here. But before I can really lay down the fence, the new one, all this ground along here has got to be kind of evened up. I don't want to put in the fence and have gaps underneath that the animals and critters can just climb under. So we've got these posts set up here. We're going to want another giant swinging gate here. And then there's this big old cemented in steel post. So, yeah, my friends, yeah. A lot of work to be done here. And again, this fence was put in by the guy that owns my property. So we're going to try to make use of these T-posts to some extent. The barbed wire is going to come off, and then we're going to run that sheep fence, square fence, all the way along here. Got to kind of pull all these sprinkler pipes out of here. Been collecting them over there and figure out what ones are usable, what ones are junk, and get rid of them. Now, what would be a true dream is to have this space over here. It's another 3, almost 4 acres, something like that we could actually plant and seed and plant and graze a larger flock of sheep on that as well. But we'll see. Let's just get things going with what we got going here. So early last winter, I pulled out this little stretch of fence here, and we built a little ski jump back before the snow was 5 feet deep in the yard, and it was a lot of fun. But essentially we are going to go from about this post all the way over to there and partition off the yard from the pasture. Okay. Now up inside the pasture, we will do rotational grazing with these sheep. So we'll be using electric fence, string fence to partition off different paddocks. But what's key is having the entire perimeter fence established, right? And this is much larger squares than the sheep fence, so they can get their heads stuck in there. So we got to pull all that out, and it's just ancient and old and bad anyway. So as we come up along through these parts, we will either put the corner post here where this steel one is, or maybe move it. Probably gonna move it over here a little bit, and then a little continuation of the, hey kid, what's up, dude? What's up, Emer? Continuation of the pasture all the way down to about, somewhere down to about here, and then across. And then the intent is, in the winter months, we'll drag this house from up in the middle of the pasture all the way back down here, and then they will kind of have this same amount of space to roam about, and we will be able to tend to and keep them here. So hopefully we can get this collapsed barn dismantled, fences installed, and we'll get our other sheep next week. So stay tuned, and thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one.
Okay, Mary, no.
Uh-oh. Mary, no.
Hey. Mary, no.
Just let her play a little bit. That's funny. Are you having fun, hon?
Yeah.
Good.